Hello, everyone. I am super excited. Today is the day I'm doing the Q&A session. Woo, I've got my flip chart back here. I got quite a few questions from a lot of different people, so thank you so much if you've already submitted your question. One of our questions was, what do I do when my horse is, while I'm lunging it, it's very like spooky and distracted and not really paying attention, and it's like looking outside of the circle, so it's kind of bending inside the circle towards me. And the short answer, again, I cover this in the Speaking the Horse language course, so I have actual videos about that, broken down like step by step and everything. But basically, to me, there's kind of a red flag, and the red flag is your horse is so interested in everything else that you are the most boring thing nearby. Now, I know that's a little bit like, what? But what that means is everything else is more interesting to your horse than you are. So the short answer is you need to be the most interesting person, the most interesting human being on the face of the earth. You need to be so interesting that your horse is like fascinated with you. Your horse like can't get enough of you. They can't turn away from you for a second, because if they do, like if they're like, oh, there might be a tiger, but then you start doing something and they're like, what is she doing? And then their attention goes back onto you again. So to me, this is kind of a relationship question. It's not about, your horse is super spooky and blah. And also I think, I don't have it here with me, but I believe in her kind of description, she said that she always lunges her horse before she rides. So again, kind of a red flag. That means that you don't have enough trust in your horse to just get on and ride. You feel the need to kind of lunge your horse and get the jitters or the spookiness out and then get on. So that's a trust issue. There's something that's kind of a disconnect. And I know you said that this is kind of a new relationship with your horse and everything. But that means that you are not the most interesting person in the world to your horse. Your horse is finding and also if your horse, again, let's talk about the herd of two, okay? In the wild, the alpha horse is the only horse really that's kind of looking out for tigers. Yeah, the alpha horse. If the alpha horse starts running, everybody starts running, because if the alpha horse is scared, then everyone's like, oh my God. Okay. So it's kind of the alpha horse's job to make sure there's no tigers. So if when your horse is with you, they're like, oh my God, there's a tiger over there. There's a tiger. I've heard of tigers. I'm pretty sure they hang out next to arenas. Like I've heard of these things. They're dangerous. So they're kind of always looking around for tigers. Then, they're not trusting you are the alpha. They're not trusting your decision and your ability to keep them safe and look out for tigers. And I'll give a little story. So my mare, Lily, when I first got her, she's a little part Arabian mare. I love her to death. She's so amazing. And she's super intelligent, this horse. And so Lily, when I first got her, I was kind of developing this relationship with her. And one of the exercises that I play in the Speaking the Horse language course is the boo game. And so I'm always kind of like being very interesting. I'm always kind of switching it up and changing and making her think. And I think I was riding her one time and she saw this huge tractor. And I don't just mean like a casual tractor driving by. I mean like a huge tractor with blades whirling in the air, because they were like cutting the hedges or something, like they were doing something, right? So she saw this dangerous tractor coming towards us, blades whirling in the air, riding her. What she does, and this is after I've been working with her for a little while, what she does is she kind of turns to me and she sort of says to me like, and I'm actually going to have this conversation because I'm communicating with her. So she kind of says to me like, just want to let you know, there's a potential tiger right there. And, I'm riding and I'm super relaxed. I'm using the breathing and the air brakes and everything. And I'm like, thank you for telling me, Lily. I appreciate the feedback. However, there is no danger. There is no tigers. And so she's kind of walking a little bit and she's sort of like, are you sure about that? Like, I can run away if you want to. I'm just putting that out there. Like I can run away if that's an option. And, I'm kind of with Lily and I'm like, nope, there's no reason for that. Like really, there's no dangers. I'm relaxed. Totally fine. Seen that before. No tigers. So she, okay. And she's totally fine. And like, we move on with our day. And that was the gist of our discussion. So there was no reaction, like we were about the danger thing, nothing. Okay. And I'll share another story and example. So my husband, Christian, so he was, discussing the topic of feel. So his mare Q, and it's great because in the demonstrate, I use him a lot in the Speaking the Horse language course. And in the demonstrations, she had been off of work for several months. She had this horrible tooth infection and it took forever to heal. It was really awful. So she was basically a wild horse in the field for months on end. And, the only contact she was having with us was bringing her to vets and putting medicine, and we were feeding her like a hot mash every day, but we were brushing her, but we weren't riding her. We didn't even really want to put a halter on her because the tooth in her, like, it was so bad. Anyway, so she'd been off for months, and so to bring her back into work, we're filming this course. And so, Christian, he used to do all of these exercises and things with her. And one of the things which we do is, if they're scared of an object, if they're scared of something, okay, so maybe a plastic bag or something like that. There was I think a plastic bag that got stuck in the fence somewhere out on a trail. So she saw that and she kind of was not sure about it. And so one of the things that we do, one of the exercises, is we make them touch it with their nose. We want them to be curious about the things that spook them. So, that's one of the exercises that we do quite a lot of. And so Christian, the other day, and I mean, literally, he called me like 2 or 3 days ago. He calls me and he was like really excited. Like, Krystal, I was out with Q, and it's snowy. He's in Germany at the moment. And it's all snowy. So our horses are in Germany, and it's like a fresh snowfall. So everything's covered in snow. And he's like, I was walking her out on the trail, and there was this log that was kind of poking up out of the snow, and it just kind of looked a little bit awkward. And so she spooked at it, not hugely, but kind of like, oh, what's that? And he's like, before I could even ask her to do anything, she by herself, like, her brain switched on, and she went up to the log and touched it with her nose and was like, oh, that's nothing. And then continued on with her day. So, that's kind of what I want, when you're asking, oh, my horse is spooking, you have to be the most interesting person in the universe. And you have to be their alpha and their herd. They have to feel like you got their back. You're the one looking out for tigers. Like, as long as you're not scared and you're not worried, like, what's the problem? Okay, so,